So basically, we're moving on in chapter 7. Everything that we're learning, we've technically already learned. For example, when we did systems of equations, which is what we just did, you already knew how to graph an equation, yes? So the only thing that was new was solving for where they intersect. And today we're going to move on to systems of inequalities. Have we already learned how to graph inequalities? Yes. So what do you think we're going to be doing new today? If we have a system, that means there's two of them. There's going to be two inequalities, so two lines, and they're going to be shaded in their own direction, and we're going to find where both of their shaded regions go together. So you're looking for any point that would satisfy both inequalities. Yes? So I wish I had some old notes to show y'all. But anyways, you'll know how like we would graph a line and then we would shade above or below. Today we're going to graph two lines, and where their shaded areas meet is where your solutions will be. There will be multiple solutions because it's a system of inequalities. So if I say you have to be, how old do you have to be to vote?
18.
I can't vote. I'm not 18, y'all. So I have to be 18 or over. So I would shade 18 and everything above it, right? So if I said, what's the solution? You couldn't just say 18. You would say 18, 18 and a half. You see what I'm saying? There's lots and lots of answers. So that's what we're going to look at today. So very quickly, let's refresh our memory on how to graph inequalities. So I want you to split this into 4, so 3 lines. So 1, 2, 3, and that'll give you little 4 squares. In the first square, let's talk about greater than. If it's greater than, the sign is going to be open to the left. Okay, what would your line look like? Solid or dashed? Dashed. And it could be a negative slope or a positive slope. It does not matter. And would you shade above or below? Above. Now, which way is above? Obviously, the way that's going to be able to go up. So you would shade above, and you would just keep shading that way. That's my shaded area. All right, let's talk about less than. Solid line or dashed? A dashed line. So I'm going to do the same type of line. It's going to be a negative slope. And which way would I shade? Below. All right, greater than or equal to. It would be what kind of line? Solid. Let's do a positive slope. Which way would I shade? Above. And then less than or equal to. Solid or dashed. Do another positive slope, and which way would I shade? Below. Now, if you ever have like an undefined slope, left would be less than and right would be greater than. Okay, anything else above is greater, below is less. All right, so if you would like, I'm also going to use 2 different color pens. I'm going to use a black pen and a red pen. You can use a pencil and a red pen, but we're going to be graphing 2 lines, so you might want 2 different colors and then your highlighter to shade. All right, we're going to graph these 2 inequalities. Let's do this one first. Anytime I'm graphing, I need a slope and a what?
Y-intercept.
All right, so what is the y-intercept? So I'm going to go put a dot at -2. What is my slope? -1 over 1. So I'm going to go to my starting point, and I'm going to go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. And you can do as many dots as you want. Or I could go up 1, left 1, yes? Would this graph have a solid line or a dashed line? Okay, so I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to make sure that it's clearly a dashed line. We do not freehand lines. We always use a straight edge. Would I shade above or would I shade below? What does it say right here? Greater than. And greater than gets shaded. Now, don't go shading like crazy. What I would do is I would take my pen and I would say I'm going to shade like this. Because what we're looking for is when we graph the two inequalities, where do the shaded regions overlap? And that's your answer. Now, those of you struggling to graph, could I have used y equals? Yes. So yes, you could go to y equals. You could even change that to greater than, yes. But you can put in negative x minus 2, and it will at least tell you the dots to put. Make sense? Okay, let's look at this one. I'm going to use a red pen now. Where is the starting point? Positive 6. What is my slope? 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3, right 1. Or, what else could I have done? Down 3, left 1. Take my pencil. Is it going to be solid or is it going to be dashed? Solid. I still have to shade. For my red line, y is less than or equal to. So I have to shade below. Now everybody look, if this line kept going, which way is going to be below? Because this way is going to be what? That's going to be up. So if I shade below, it's going to go this way, yes? Do you see the area where both of them are shaded? So take your highlighter. Everything in this area would be considered a solution to that system of inequalities. Only where they're both shaded. Now let's answer the question. Is 3, 5 a solution to the system above? Will everybody go find 3, 5?
Yes.
If it falls in that area, which it falls right there, then the answer is yes, it is a solution because it satisfies both inequalities. So again, we've already learned how to graph inequalities. Now we're just going to graph two of them at the same time and see where they both fit each other. Make sense? All right, let's try the bottom one. Okay, I'm going to do this one in black. What is my starting point? 0. What is my slope of this one? 3 over 1. So I'm going to rise up 3 and run 1 right. Will this one have a solid or dashed line? To dashed. Which way would I shade for less than? Below. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to go like this. I don't want to overshade. I'm just looking at where they both end up being. All right, let's look at the next one. What is my starting point? So put a dot at 1. What is my slope? -2 over 1. So I'm going to go down 2, right 1. Is this one going to be solid or dashed? I'm going to wait for everybody to catch up. I've not shaded yet for my second one. Which way would I shade for greater than or equal to? Above. Now look, if I go this way, which way am I actually going? All right, so I need to go above. Where are they both shaded at? Right here. Don't turn the page because we're going to go answer 2 questions on that one. All right, here's a question we're going to ask ourselves. Is 2, 6 a solution? Really? It is? 2, 6? Okay, here's 2, 6. Is that a solid line? Because if it's a solid line, I'm good. Or is that a dashed line? It is not a solution if it's a dashed line. So my answer to that one is no. One more. Is 2, -3 a solution? Here's 2. Here's -3. Why is that one a solution? That's a solid line that's within the range. Yes? Does everybody understand the difference? Oh, there sure is 3 on the next one. Yes? One, 2. Let's skip the back and let's go to this page. It's all the same thing. All right, here we go. This one, what is the starting point? 2. What is the slope? So what does that mean I'm going to go do? Down 1, right 1. Would it be a solid line or a dashed line? Solid. And which way would I shade? It's greater than or equal to. Which way would I shade? Up. Don't overshade, just enough to show where it should be going. Okay, this one. Y is less than 4. What kind of line is that? It's gonna be a line that crosses through the y-axis at. So everybody go to 4.
That's the x-axis.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. Thank you. Go to the y-axis. Would it be solid or dashed? Okay, which way would I shade? Below, because it's less than. Mark off this one because it's not even going to make sense with that one. Let's just do 2 on that one. We'll do 3 on this one. It makes sense. All right, where do they both cross paths?
There.
Right here. It makes a little triangle. You'll see it? All right, let me come up with a question for y'all. Is 3-4 a solution? Yes or no? Why is 3-4 not a solution? It's on a dashed line, so the answer is no. Is Is 3 - 1 a solution? Why? It's on a solid line that's part of that shaded region. All right, I got one more question for y'all. Is -3 5?
No, yes.
Is -3 5 a solution?
Yes.
I'm hearing yes and no, so what's the answer?
Yes.
All right, let's go to it. -3 5 is right here, yes? So tell me about that. It's part of the solid line, but it's not part of my area that satisfies both inequalities. So the answer is no. It has to satisfy both of the inequalities. So it has to fall in that highlighted region. If it falls in the highlighted region on a solid line, then it is yes. If it falls in that region in a dashed line, the answer is no. And yes, it can be anything in the yellow, right? All right, to the bottom. Let's graph this one first. What is the y-intercept? What is my starting point?
-1 or 0.
0. What is my slope? -1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1. Solid or dashed? Dashed. Oops, I meant to do dashed. I got this. There, it's dashed. It's dashed. All right, the next one. What's my starting point?
-4.
-4. What's my slope?
1/1.
1/1. So I'm going to go up 1, right 1. Oh, I forgot to shade that one, but we'll go back and do it. All right, solid or dashed? Say it again, solid or dashed? Say it again, solid or dashed? Solid. All right, which one would I shade for that second one? Above or below?
Above.
Okay, so it would go like this. And then I'm going to go back to that first one. Which way should I have shaded?
Above.
I have one more to graph. Y is less than 5. So I go to the y-axis to 5. It's going to pass through the y-axis right there. Would it be solid or dashed? Which way would I shade there?
Below.
Below. Do y'all see the spot where they're all three shaded? It's a triangle in the middle, yes? Now, clearly on the EOC, they're not going to have you graph this. They're going to give you a graph that looks like that and ask you questions about it. But the fact that you guys know how to graph it should help you answer any question that they ask. Okay, flip to the back. These graphs are not the easiest to read, but it wants us to write a system of inequalities. Okay, this is the x-axis right here. This is the y-axis. How many lines do you see?
3.
Really? So I need 2 equations, 2 inequalities. Okay, do y'all see this one right here? Yes or no? All right, what's the starting point for that one? -1. So I've got something minus 1. What's the slope? From here, look right here, there's 2 dots. What's the rise?
1 to 2.
2 over, is it positive or negative?
Positive.
So 2/3 x minus 1. And was it a dashed line or solid? So it's not going to have an or equal sign. And is it shaded above or below?
Above.
So how would I write that? Y is
Greater than.
greater than. There's my first one. That was not hard. Now find the next one. Here it is. It's an undefined slope, and it's passing through the x-axis at,
3. So y is.
no, if it's passing through the x-axis, it's x.
So x is.
So x is, well,
Less than.
it's going to be either equal to, less than, or greater than, but let's worry about what number this is. 3. All right. Which way did they shade? To the right, and right is greater. Was it solid or dashed? Solid. So what else should this have? Come on, guys. An equal sign. So basically on the EOC, they could give you a picture like this. It would be much cleaner and easier to see. And you would have to identify the answer that represented that picture. Yes? Now this one at the bottom is way harder to read, so we're not going to do it. All right, so I'm going to pass out the assignment. So at the top of your assignment, it's going to be super easy. You're going to write yes or no. It says, tell whether the ordered pair is a solution. Now stop and remember, if it falls on a dashed line, the answer is no. If it falls on a solid line, the answer is yes if it's in the shaded area.
What if it's on the edge?
It has to be within the shaded area. So like right here, that's not a solution because that's a dashed line.
What about on
But
the
that is a solution because it is in that shaded area and that's solid.
Okay.
What about this right here?
Yeah. Yeah, what about that?
What looks like parallel lines?
They are parallel, but it's
They are parallel, but it's the part that's shaded, so that's all that matters. Okay, go to the bottom. It wants you to match the system. So this is where we kind of worked on the last part of the notes. I personally would rearrange these to y equals mx plus b. Okay, obviously you don't need to rearrange x is less than 2. But guys, you can kind of weed out answers just by looking at x is less than 2. I see right here, that's x is 2, but they didn't shade it below, so it's not going to be a. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's the y. Yeah, thank you. X is less than 2, so that wouldn't even be there. So, but I would go look for x is less than 2, which is right here. See how it's shaded to the left from the 2 right there?
so number 7.
So it could be D. I would say it could be D. Okay, go to the back. This is where you're going to do it like we did the front part of the notes. You are going to graph. Use 2 different colors and then shade your answer with a highlighter to make it very easy for us to grade. And then at the bottom, so we'll just do 19 A, B, and C. All right, get busy.